Hey everyone, it is March 6th. Hope everybody is doing well today. I just never get over a talking donkey. There's all kind, and you know what? There's all kinds of stuff out there to study. People that question, did a donkey really talk? Could this have really happened? And you know what? If it's in here, I believe it. That's just it. End of story. End of story. That's where I draw the line. If it's in the Bible, I believe it. If it's not in the Bible, I don't believe it. But for whatever reason, God decided to give Balaam a second chance to listen to him. How graceful was God? Because he clearly did not listen to him. Now there's a lot of, when you look at the NLT, which that's what we're reading, it clearly said that he got up the next day and he went, but God got angry. Verse 22, but God got angry that Balaam was going, so he sent the angel of the Lord to stand to block the road. Okay, when we look before, God said to him, since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you. Now, this is one of those times where it's very beneficial to do some digging, because there is specifically a 2-letter word that is left out or not included in the New Living Translation, and that is the word if. We talked about recently in a lesson about if being a fulcrum and how if's going to make us, a fulcrum is something that forces us to do something one way or another, or causes something to happen. And if you look in the ESV, which is more closely translated to the original language, you see, if the men have come to call you, rise up and go with them. So in other words, he's speaking to Balaam, and he said, if they come in the morning for you, then go with them. But scripture doesn't tell us that they came in the morning back for him. So that's where the anger came up with God. There's an article there. Please take a look at it. And I don't want to spend too much time on that, but because I want to look at this saying from Richard Watson. I've not ever heard of him, but I loved what he had to say in one of my commentaries that I use. God does not make the wrong way smooth for one who has extorted permission to follow it. Wow. He's not going to make your way smooth and my way smooth just because I'm trying to manipulate the situation or trying to be like he is. He was just a shyster. He was somebody who basically profited on ill-gotten gain. I mean, he was greedy. He liked being important and sought after, and he had bad practices to be known and make himself known. And he knew what God told him to do. But you know what? He didn't. It was very clear. God said, you will not go and curse the Israelites. He says it up in verse 12 and 13 in chapter 22. You will not go. And what does he do? He entertains these men again with the same conversation and says, well, let me go ask God. It just makes me think of, well, I have it in with God. I have a good in with God. Let me go talk to God about this. I mean, that's how I kind of see this conversation going. And God going, you know what? If they come back in the morning, then go. They didn't come back. But he took that as God gave me the nod on that. And I wonder sometimes, this just made me think, how many times do I attempt to wear God down? God, I know you put the kibosh on this before, but I don't think you saw the whole picture. Or, God, I know you said no, but you didn't really mean no, right? Because this has happened since you said no. And I think it would now work out. Do I get to the place where God is so exhausted with me that he needs to send a donkey? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yes. And then another question I ask myself is, does my pride and importance to others supersede my desire to please God through obedience? Yes, it does sometimes. I'm so ashamed to say that, but it does. Balaam had earned a reputation for himself. He was, they sought after. It's the word I'm looking for. But the bottom line is he didn't have any control over his flesh. He was greedy, and he was willing to do whatever he wanted to do or needed to do to be recognized and known. I just listed these things. Balaam could have saved himself a lot of trouble. He could have saved himself from a lot of trouble. He could have saved himself from a long trip. Because he wouldn't even have, had he listened to God, he wouldn't have been on the road. He would not have had the encounter with the donkey. He wouldn't have looked like a fool in front of all of those people, because he ends up blessing the Israelites instead of cursing them and causing them to be angry with him. You know what? He could have avoided an untimely death at the very hands of the people he blessed. Oh my. And you know what? He could have avoided being remembered in history as the one who loved to gain money the wrong way. He did. Look up in 2 Peter and Jude 1:11. I think I included those verses on your notes. How do you want to be remembered? I don't want that to be written about me. So what if we just obey God the first time? Yes, sir? I heard you. What if we have experienced, what have I experienced because I didn't heed God's stipulation? He said no. And then he said if, and he still didn't listen. What trouble could we be avoiding? What trouble could you be avoiding? Ask the Lord today. What could I have avoided? How could I have avoided this situation? Tell me, Lord, and then forgive me for not listening. Take care. I'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.